Okay, students, let's go over this test review. Okay, so like I told you, the first 6 questions are just work questions, so I'm just going to kind of work through these. So pay close attention. This is exactly what I'm going to expect to see on your test tomorrow. So this first one here, this one's just a one-step inequality. Now, I don't like the way it's written, so I'm going to rewrite it. And I would rewrite it as h plus 8, and then I write the 12, and then I make sure this inequality is open to the 12, so make sure it's still open to the 12. Okay, so now I need to move this 8 over to be with the 12 side. Okay, so I've got h plus 8 plus negative 8 is less than 12 plus negative 8. So h is less than, and then 12 plus negative 8 is 4. Okay, my h is positive, so it's not going. My inequality is not going to flip. Now on the first 3 on the test, I am going to expect you to do a quick graph. Remember, you just draw a little line here, put a 4. Now, because of this inequality, that's an open circle, and it says I need all h values that are less than 4, so I'm going to shade to the left. Okay. Now, number 2 is also a one-step inequality. We got negative 3r is less than 18. Now, because this coefficient is negative, when I divide by that negative 3, my inequality will flip. So I've got r, and then 18 divided by negative 3 gives me negative 6. And now this inequality that was less than flips to greater than, okay, in order to make this one true. Okay, so we put a tick mark down here of negative 6. Again, it's an open circle, and I need all r values greater than negative 6, so it's the ones out to the right. And number 3 is a two-step inequality because we've got 2 parts to it. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is get rid of the 6. But I do notice there's a plus, and this coefficient is negative. So what does that coefficient mean? That means that we are going to flip that inequality at the end. So negative 8x plus 6 plus negative 6 is greater than or equal to 12 plus negative 8x is greater than or equal to 6. Divide by negative 8, divide by negative 8. I end up with x. 6 divided by negative 8 gives me negative 0.75, negative 3/4. And it was greater than or equal to, so it flips to less than or equal to. So this one I put a negative 0.75 for the quick graph, but because it's a less than or equal to, it's a closed circle, and we're going to shade to the left. So that's the first 3 questions. So let's move on to the next 3. Now these are multi-step ones, okay? So you got to think about a couple things. Okay, so this first one on number 4, okay, first off, I do see 2 5Ws, but this one's negative, and this one's positive. They do not cancel out, so don't try. So I start with my minuses, I change those. Okay, and then I need to move this 5w over. So I start at the inequality, do 5w plus negative 5w plus negative 15. And we'll have to erase it to be able to do this next question. Okay, then we'll come over here and do negative 5w plus negative 25 plus the negative 5w that I added from the other side. So these 2 negative 5w's make a negative 10w plus negative 25, okay, is less than or equal to negative 15, okay, because my 5w's go away. So now I move this negative 25 over to be with the negative 15. So negative 10w plus negative 25 plus positive 25 is less than or equal to negative 15 plus 25. Okay, so I end up with negative 10w is less than or equal to, and negative 15 and positive 25 give me 10. Okay, so I divide both sides by negative 10. And I end up with w. 10 divided by negative 10 gives me negative 1. But because I divided through by a negative, my inequality flips from less than to greater than or equal to. Okay, so I am going to erase this problem because I don't have any room to do the rest of them. So you can always come back in the video and look at how I worked it. Okay, number 5. Okay, so again, I don't have any minus in this one, so I'm good to go. So I just need to get my r's together. So I move this r over. So 4r plus negative 4r plus 32, it'd be 6r plus 6 plus negative 4r. So the 6r and the negative 4r make a 2r plus 6 is greater than 32. Okay, so now I move the 6 over, and now I can determine my inequality is not going to flip because my coefficient is positive. So 2r plus 6 plus negative 6 is greater than 32 plus negative 6. So 2r is greater than 26. Divide both sides by 2, and you end up with r is greater than 13. Okay, so again, I'm going to erase this one so I can do question number 6. Like I said, you can always go back and just, reverse the video and take it back to the point where I started working it. Number 6. Now this one, we've got a couple things going on. Okay, I've got a 2x and a 6x that I can put together to make 8x plus 8 on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, I've got a 2 and a 6, so I can do 8x plus 8 over here. So now we can do the shortcut on this one. I've got an 8x here and an 8x here. They are the same, unlike what it was on this one. Okay, so these 8x's go away, and we're left with 8 is greater than 8. Is that a true statement? No, it is not, so it is no solution. Okay, so that's how you work those first 6 questions. Now the rest of these basically are just application style questions. Now we worked several of these in class, so I'm expecting you on 7 through 10 just to kind of work these with common sense. Okay, so on number 7, first thing I want you to do is look at the inequality. This inequality right here. This one is just a less than symbol, so that means it's going to have an open circle. So that means A and B can go away because they've got closed circles there. So it can only be one of these two. So now when you're looking at that inequality, we've determined that it's going to be an open circle. I now determine 2 other things. One is the variable on the left-hand side. If the variable is on the left-hand side of the inequality, then we know that inequality will tell us which way to shade the inequality or shade the graph. Okay, and this variable is on the left. So the next thing, look at your coefficient. In this one, it's 3. Make sure that that is a positive number. If it's positive, then my inequality is not going to flip. And then this inequality symbol tells us which way to shade. And it says we're going to shade to the left. So which one of these graphs shades to the left? C. Okay. Do the same thing on number 8. Okay, on number 8 here, we're trying to pick the same graph. So I look at this inequality right here. That inequality says that I'm going to have an open circle. So that means I can eliminate A and D because both of those are closed. Okay, so then I look at my variable. Is it on the left of the inequality? Yes, it is. Look at my coefficient. The coefficient is positive 1. If we don't see a number, then we know that it's a 1. It's a positive 1, so this inequality tells me which way the graph is going to be shaded. Okay, and it tells me I'm going to shade to the right. So that means my answer is C. Number 9. This one is a closed circle graph. So I look down here to find any inequality that has a bar on it. So that means A and B are eliminated because they're going to be open circles. Okay, so then I look in my 2 answers that are okay. I look at my variable. My variable in both of them are 2x. Okay, it's positive and it's on the left of the inequality. So the inequality tells us which way to shade. My graph is shaded to the left, so that means my inequality needs to be facing the left. So it's a less than symbol. Okay, so that's going to be D. Number 10, okay, I look at my circle. It's an open circle. So that means if the inequality has a bar, I can eliminate it because that would be a closed circle. So again, I look at my answer choices. My variable is on the left. My coefficient's positive. So my graph is shaded to the left, so I need my inequality facing the left. So it's A. Okay, so on those tomorrow, I don't expect you showing work on those either. I want you working them with common sense. Okay, and this section will be multiple choice on the computer. Now 11 and 12, these are 2 inequality questions that I want you just to translate them and write an inequality. Number 11 says, Susan must practice her trumpet at least 15 hours a week. So right there is important, at least 15 hours a week. Okay, so the at least means that this 15 has got to be 15 or more. Okay, when we get all said and done with it. Okay, so that at least means that whatever makes up that 15, it's got to be bigger than the 15 or equal to. This week she's practiced 6 hours, so that's important. That's a constant. Trumpet lessons are part of Susan's practice time. Her teacher gives 2-hour lessons. Write an inequality that can be used to find X, the number of lessons Susan must attend this week. So in this question, it tells us what our variable is. It says, find X, the number of lessons Susan must attend. Okay, so we know that our amount of practice time, we know that we've got 2-hour lessons. So for every lesson is 2 hours long. The number of lessons is represented by an X. I've already practiced 6 hours this week. Okay, and this amount right here must be at least 15 hours. So it's going to be greater than or equal to 15. And there's the inequality that we would use to find that out. Number 12, Martha works at a warehouse packing boxes. Her job is to place P items that each weigh 3 kilograms into a wooden box that weighs 1 kilogram. If Martha can lift a weight up to 15 kilograms, write an inequality to represent the number of items Martha can place in each box and still be able to lift the box. Okay, so in the box, we know that we're going to be placing P items in the box, and each of those items are going to weigh 3 kilograms, okay, plus a 1 kilogram box, and this amount right here has to be up to 15 kilograms. It can be 15, but it would better be lower. Okay, so we get the 15, and this side right here has to be less than or equal to that 15, okay, in order for her to be able to lift it. So that's the inequality that we would use to represent number 12. Okay, number 13. This is one where I give you an inequality and ask you which statement would represent that. Okay, so I need a statement that says 2 times some number plus 4 is greater than 14. So we look at A. A fence is in the shape of an isosceles triangle. Yes, we do expect you to remember some words that you've learned in the past. An isosceles triangle is a triangle where 2 sides are the same length and the third one is not. Okay, a fence is in the shape of an isosceles triangle. The fence is at least 14 yards long. Well, right there should tell us I can eliminate that answer. Because at least 14 yards, that means it could be 14 yards or more. This problem right here says it's got to be more than 14. So A is out. B. B says there are 2 pencil boxes in a desk drawer. Pencil box, pencil box. There are also 4 loose pencils in the drawer, plus 4 pencils. Okay? The total number of pencils in the drawer is more than 14. How many pencils are in each box? Okay, could that work? 2 boxes, 2x plus 4 is greater than 14? Yes, it could. That one does work. So let's go ahead and look at the other ones, though, just in case. C says 3 teams were formed with 14 students. Right? Team 1 has 4 students. Teams 2 and 3 have the same number of students. How many students are there in teams 2 and 3? Well, if it says 3 teams were formed with 14 students, that's not an inequality, that's an equation. So that's going to be an equals 14. D. Sheila is older than 14 years. Her brother Tom is 4 years old. She also has twin sisters, Diana and Brianna. How old is each of the twin sisters? Okay, so Sheila is older than 14 years old. Okay, her brother Tom is 4 years old, and her twin sisters are that and that. Okay, they're the same. How old is each of the twin sisters? Okay, so this one is talking about how old is the twin sisters and not about Sheila or anything like that. So this one's just kind of crazy. And so it's Sheila's older than 14 years old, but it has no comparison to the sisters, the twins. Okay, so this one doesn't even make any sense. So it's out. So the only answer is B. Right? Now, number 14. Okay, what I'm expecting you to do on number 14 is a calculator problem. It says if x is -5, which inequality is true? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your calculator, type in this -5 into this problem, and determine, does that make sense? So in this first one, I would do -5 minus 3 times -5. So 3 times, and then I change this right here. So -3 times -5 is going to give me 15. 15 plus -5 gives me 10. So this one is 10 is greater than or equal to 10. Is that a true statement? Yes, it is. Okay, so that's our answer. But let's go ahead and work the rest of these. Let's work C here. This one says I'm going to do 1 minus or plus -2 times -5. Well, 2 times -2 times -5 gives me 10. 10 plus 1 gives me 11. Is 11 greater than 9? Okay, yes, it is. So this particular problem, believe it or not, there might be 2 correct answers, and that's okay. You can have that, okay, for right now, okay? Now, B, -3 minus 5 times -5. So I change this. So -5 times -5 is 25. 25 plus -3 gives me 22. Is 22 less than -14? No, it is not. So that one is out. Okay, this one, 2 minus -5, which becomes plus. So that would be 7 is less than or equal to -3. And is that true? No, it is not. Okay, so in this particular problem, on this one, we did have 2 correct answers. On your test, that won't be the case. Okay, so let's take a look down at this last one. It says Steve bought a bottle of water for $3. He also bought some hot dogs for $4 each. Steve did not spend more than $15 on hot dogs and a bottle of water. Which inequality could be used to find H, the number of hot dogs Steve could have bought? Okay, so it says you got a bottle of water, which is $3, and some hot dogs for $4. So I'm looking for 4 hot dogs, or $4 times hot dogs plus $3. So this one right here, these two, because they're minuses, they don't work because we had to buy things. So it's going to be one of these two. $4 hot dogs plus $3 is less than 15. $4 hot dogs plus $3 is greater than 15. Well, we know he spent less than 15, so it's got to be this one. Okay, spend no more than $15. Okay, now, how many did he do? So that means we got to solve it. So 4H plus 3 is less than or equal to 15. Okay, so 4H plus 3 plus negative 3, okay, is less than or equal to 15 plus negative 3. So 4H is less than or equal to 12. Divide by 4, divide by 4. H is less than or equal to 3. So how many hot dogs could Steve have bought? 3 hot dogs. And that's how you solve the questions on this particular test review. Okay, so if you can do all of these questions, then this test will be a piece of cake. It'll be simple. Okay, now 7 through 15 on the test tomorrow will all be multiple choice. Okay, so this part you'll do on your computer, and these right here you will do on paper, or you'll do it on notebook paper if you're at home. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck on your test tomorrow. You need a good grade, so make sure you know how to do this. So until next time, I'll talk to you later.